Good afternoon. And this afternoon, I would like to just share for a few minutes Psalm 34, verse 6, which talks about trouble. All of us have experienced trouble, and at times when we have trouble, we feel like, what can I do? Who can I go to? I remember when I was a young person living in Highland Park, which is in the middle of Detroit. And I had gone to an event and I was driving home and the car broke down right about a mile off, well, those of you that know Highland Park on Oakland Avenue. And I didn't know what to do because in those days there were no cell phones. And luckily or fortunately, there was like a guard's little house for a guard for some area there on Oakland Avenue. And I went there and I called my dad because, see, I was helpless. I was in trouble. And so what did I do? I was fortunate enough to have a phone there and called my dad. And he took care of the situation. And I was very thankful for that. And I'm sure there were other occasions in my youth and even as a child where I had trouble and one of my parents took care of me. They got me out of trouble. But you know, all through life, we face trouble. And how do we deal with trouble? Well, in Psalm 34, David was in trouble. He had been fleeing from Saul. He was there with the Philistines. He was pretending to be crazy. And in other words, his life was a wreck. He was in big trouble. And what does he do? Well, it says, this poor man cried, and the Lord heard him and saved him out of all his troubles. David realized that he was a poor man. He couldn't handle it. He didn't have any resources to handle his trouble. You know, that's our problem sometimes. We face trouble in life and we try to resolve it in our own ingenuity, by our own plotting, by maybe manipulating people. And we just don't admit to ourselves and to God that I don't have any resources. I don't have any resources to handle this problem. Just like when my parents' car broke down and there I was, no phone, nothing. I had no resources. And the only thing I could do was call my father. And that's exactly what David does. He says, this poor man cried. He cried out to God because he had no other resources. And guess what? And the Lord heard him. Nothing could be more frustrating than trying to reach out to somebody and never getting an answer. But with God, it says here, when we cry out to him in our time of trouble, he hears us. And it's so wonderful to have the fact that somebody hears us. When I faced that breakdown in the car and I finally was able to get a hold of a phone, I'm glad that my dad was able to answer and that he was able to come in and deliver me from that troublesome situation. And that's what God does. He is always available. There's no busy signal. He's always there. And so David says, this poor man cried and the Lord heard him. But he didn't just hear him, he did something about it and delivered him out of all of his troubles. You know, the Lord wants to deliver you and me out of whatever trouble we're facing. I don't know what kind of things that are going on in your life, but I know that the Bible says we're all born for trouble. We live in a fallen world, and there will be problems with health. There will be problems with people. There will be problems with the environment. I mean, there's all sorts of problems and trouble that can come up into our lives. And we need to realize, as David did, I don't have the resources to handle this trouble. So who does? God has the resources. And so as you and I face life, there is trouble. But there is always one who's there who will answer our cry. The Lord hears us And as it says here, he delivers us out of all of our trouble. So come to God when you have trouble. He will listen. He'll hear about what's going on, and he will deliver you completely. May God bless you today, and may you be truly go to him with your trouble, and he will answer you.